Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS news for Thursday, February 13. The first patient placed in isolation has returned a negative test for COVID-19, previously known as the novel coronavirus. The Ministry of Health and Wellness says the results were received yesterday from the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention. The patient, who arrived on the island from China on January 30, had been placed in isolation and will now be discharged. A sample taken from a second person who was isolated on February 10 is now being tested at the Caribbean Public Health Agency. CARPHA is also testing a sample taken from a third Jamaican who has been isolated after arriving in Montego Bay from China with a fever on February 11. In the meantime, the Health and Wellness Ministry is reminding the public to protect themselves from infection through frequent hand washing, coughing and sneezing into tissue and discarding it, as well as avoiding contact with ill persons. Major development works will start on 4 health centers in St. James within the next 2 months. This will benefit about 15,000 residents and 70 healthcare workers across the 4 communities served by the Granville, Adelphi, Barrettstown, and Flanker Health Centers. At the recent launch of the program, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton said it was in line with government's 10-year strategic development plan for the sector.
Apart from the upgrades that will be done, there's also going to be more personnel, more equipment, and greater levels of curative services.
The program is spearheaded by the Jamaica Social Investment Fund and is being financed by a European Union-funded health center expansion program at a cost of $154 million.
The European Union is strongly committed to both national and global health security. Here in Jamaica, this is why we have focused our efforts and encouraged other actors to do so.
The Ministry of Transport will be purchasing additional buses to sustain daily deployment and improve service delivery at the nation's state-owned bus company. This was announced during Tuesday's ceremonial opening of Parliament, and our reporter, Lorraine Mendez, was there and filed this report.
Commuters using the Jamaica Urban Transit Company Limited JUTC could soon be riding in electric buses. This as Governor General Sir Patrick Allen, in his throne speech Tuesday, announced that 45 electric buses would be added to the JUTC's fleet.
The projected benefits of implementing this initiative is quite significant and include energy saving, environmental preservation, and the reduction of the national fuel bill.
The JUTC is projected to spend $2.96 billion on fuel costs for the 2020-2021 financial year. This was outlined in the Jamaica Public Body's estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year ending March 2021, which was tabled in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. The bus company is projected to earn $4.5 billion during the upcoming fiscal year when compared to its total operating expenses forecast of $12.5 billion. The JUTC intends to increase operational efficiency by completing the implementation of an oil filtration system of 300 buses and refurbishing 15 damaged buses to facilitate their return to service. Other measures include enhancing its fleet management and bus tracking system, and improving the fare collection system. Reporting for JIS News outside Gordon House, I'm Lorraine Mendez.
The Ministry of National Security will be spending $400 million under its security strengthening project in the new fiscal year. The information is outlined in the estimates of expenditure for the 2020-2021 financial year. Of the $400 million, $273 will be used to purchase and install equipment. These include management systems for case, jail, and station records. Equipment will also be purchased for the Firearm Licensing Authority, interconnection between agencies, as well as connectivity and surveillance at the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the Department of Correctional Services. The overall objective of the project is to build capacity to increase the conviction rate for murders.
This government is committed to improving not the working conditions of the police force and to providing the police with adequate resources to fight the criminal network.
The project, which started in January 2018, will end in March 2023. It is being funded by the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB. In the meantime, 4 additional family courts are to be built in St. Anne's, St. Thomas, Spanish Town, and Portmore. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says this will be done as part of the approximately $200 million European Union funding support, which is being provided to finance institutional strengthening in the justice sector.
We want to see results in terms of the court system themselves responding to the case backlog. We need to ensure that when our citizens access the courts, that they can have their matters settled in a timely manner.
Minister Chuck made the disclosure recently while speaking at the opening ceremony for the 11th Annual Restorative Justice Conference. The Family Court is governed under the Judicature Family Court Act and is responsible for all legal proceedings relating to family life except for divorces. And finally, the Electoral Office of Jamaica, EOJ, has confirmed that 2 candidates were duly nominated on Wednesday to contest the March 2 by-election in the Clarendon Southeastern constituency. Independent candidate Derek Lambert was nominated at 11:04 a.m., while the Jamaica Labour Party representative, Pernell Charles Jr., was nominated at 12:55 p.m. Nominations took place at the Vere Technical High School. The Electoral Office says it will now advance its preparations for Election Day on March 2. The election in Clarendon Southeastern marks the 6th parliamentary by-election to be held since the 2016 general election. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.